here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and we're doing a video that has been needed to be done for quite some time, but the holidays came up and my video requests, my book, got lost. Here's the big deal. If any of you have made video requests to me and I haven't fulfilled them yet, please note them in the comments below, as my book of, what I needed to get done has been lost. So I definitely want to do those for you guys. If you have checked out my Patreon, you know that you'll go to the front of the list if you need a video right away. However, I do them in order otherwise. It helps me and I help you, and it's all good. We're talking about habaneros, so I suggest that you guys glove up when you use dried habaneros. You can dry them yourself. I get mine from the Hispanic section of the nice grocery store, like the specialty grocer, and they have organic dried habaneros. But there's no reason you can't pop them right out in the sun and dry them. It would be, I'm assuming they're sun-dried, but I guess it would say if they were. My package says sun-dried, and sometimes you can tell just by the coloring or the smell of them if they've been sun-dried. So anyway, it's kind of difficult feat to get a glove on with loads of rings, but I like to keep my rings on. Damn! And then that happened, so whatever. Okay, so I'm going to show you the habanero before the glove rips. I keep them in a jar like this. One package that I was talking about runs about $8, and it's usually got like, I don't know, 10 habaneros. The smell right away is very, 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 very strong. So this is so strong. This is a dried habanero. Now, I've sat down and tried to, I have to cap these up right away just because the smell is so strong. Now, I've tried to put them in all of my different mortar and pestles, okay? I've tried to put them in all of them, but the only one that works is my spice grinder. I tried to put it in my huge molajete. That didn't break it up, and if that's not going to break up something, nothing will. And this is the one I use for eggshells, but I have one I use just for herbs. It's actually made from lava, and it breaks up anything. So, habanero does not get broken up with that. I almost ruined a molajete over it. And, so yeah, it's not something I suggest. What can you use habanero for? Well, let's just talk about the fruit itself. And it wasn't in Scott Cunningham's book. I was really shocked. The closest thing that came to it was chili pepper. So I'm going to combine chili pepper in this video. It's going to be habanero and chili pepper so that you can kind of get some ideas for what Scott Cunningham has to say about a hot, spicy thing, as well as what I found in only one of my books. And it was a hoodoo book. So let's find our Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs is back here. Okay, so thank you for waiting. This was in my other studio, Encyclopedia for Magical Herbs. So as it doesn't say anything about habanero, first I will talk about what I did find about habanero, and then I will go on to the chili pepper aspect. But again, here are those, that's the information for the 100,000 to 300,000 heat units in these babies. Now, they're not the hottest on the Scoville scale by any means. I didn't have a fresh habanero to show you, but they are beautiful, light orange color, light bright orange, not a dark deep orange, not a lot of reds in there, just like that bright secondary color orange. It's so beautiful. They are about this big usually. In the sushi bar I work in, we put them raw into our spicy tuna roll. So good. We also put raw garlic into one of our spicy tuna rolls. I mean, I think that the spicy tuna rolls at my restaurant are the best I've ever tasted, to be quite honest. Since it's a hot video, I suppose I'll smoke. That's okay with me. It's okay with you. So, I have these out because I wanted to show you my progression of my taro root. I'm actually letting these because I'm going to put I'm going to do a spell of putting his balls in a jar. This is not a spell for my husband, it's just a demo spell, but I wanted to show you if you let it, it will even, these are sprouts coming out of it, it will sprout, or if you get it wet and you let it air dry, it will mold, and you could represent that as his horrible habits, his moldy balls, throw them in the jar, keep them there, you know, whatever you want to do, but, what I just said there wasn't exactly nice, was it? I'm sorry. It's morning time, and we are out of water from Peggy's, and I didn't get to make any tea, so that is a travesty in my book. No cuppa. So, habanero pepper, the only place I found it in any of my books, seriously, and why is that, was Working Conjure by Hoodoo Sen Moise, or Sen Moise. Sen Moise? It says Habanero, capsicum Chinese habanero, used in aggressive works to bring discomfort. And that's exactly all you really need to know. Aggressive and discomfort. A lot of people put this in a hot foot powder, and it's not even called for in a hot foot powder. Like, chili peppers are called for in a hot foot powder. But discomfort, real discomfort. Have somebody put some of this behind their footsteps, you know, in front of their footsteps. Many things, but not physical discomfort as in you're having it touch their body. That is wrong. That's illegal. That's, what do you call it? It's hurting someone, right? It's physically hurting somebody. But when you use energy to make somebody uncomfortable, just like they've done to you, whether they use that energy in words or in thoughts or in situations they set you up for. Now in hoodoo, you have to remember, if you can't justify it, you shouldn't be doing it. I had a question yesterday that said, how do I clean my conscience after hoodoo workings? And I said, okay, well, I'm not by any means a hoodoo master, or I'm learning with you guys, right? But I do a lot of reading, and I have, you know, as many books as I can at my fingertips all of the time. Now, I intuitively knew from my reading in these 3 books that all 3 of them do say the same thing. It needs to be justified in order for you to do it. And if you're doing those workings and it's not justified in your heart, you know, it's not the right way to do that. And I know that we alter our witchcraft in ways that work for us, but that was my best advice, is that, you know, if you're doing it and you can't justify it, just call it witchcraft. Take it into herbalism, do some hexing work, do some return to sender work first, of course. Try the return to sender workings first, you know, before you try and go in with hexing. And I don't even know too much about cursing, but it's not something I even do. Hexes, on the other hand, maybe it's the same thing. I'm not sure. Someone asked me that the other day too. What was the difference between the two? And I said, I don't know. I have to look into it, really. So I want to, and I think a curse might be something that goes on forever, like generational, is my guess, and a hex might be more personal. So hot foot powders, it's excellent in any kind of hexing work, because it makes the person uncomfortable, okay? And in order for something to happen, you have to get somebody uncomfortable, okay? I have not done a video on hot foot powder, but I can. Like I say, the only way to get it into a powder from this form is like a spice grinder. And you don't want to use Mom's coffee grinder for this, wash it out and put it back. No, no, no. She will burn her mouth. Like, habaneros, you know, have that in a spice grinder that's just for your magic and that you don't eat anything out of. Because I blend up mushrooms in there, I blend up mothballs in there, I blend up all kinds of poisons. And yes, I wipe it out in between. But remember, those things are still there. Like, the hotness, it could still burn you. You touch it, you touch your eye, whoo! Bad news. So with those grinders, make sure you're wearing gloves. Keeping yourself safe. So that's all I could really find on habanero. But, you know, what do I use it for? For instance, I'm going to be doing a jar with these. And the whole representation is, we put the testicles in the jar for him to stay at home. And then, on the outside of the jar, you string all the consequences, okay? If he leaves the jar, which is home and you, and this is your husband or whatever, if his balls leave the jar, then what's outside waiting for him? Maybe a moldy, dried up cactus that I've got in my dehydrator right now, something with spikes, something that will hurt him, a whole habanero hanging on the outside of the jar. We could anoint the whole thing in black hexing oil so that if he came out of this, marital agreement, then these are the things that are going to happen to him. And it's not like you're going to put that on your nightstand and go, honey, here's what's going to happen. No, no, no. You want the truth from your lovers. You want the truth from the people who are closest to you. Do your workings, not in secret, but in private. That is your private working. It is like an herbal prayer. And it's focus, it's intention, it's energy. And when you do things like this with items that are this powerful, honestly, a whole habanero is so potent and powerful. You don't need that for a lot. These will probably last me, depending on how many sales I make this year, but these might last me a whole year. I don't use a lot of it. But if there's a really important situation, another thing you could hang on the outside of these jars for consequences, burned matches. In my opinion, those cause uncomfort. Fire is hot, here are your consequences. Hang them on the outside of the jar. That way if he leaves, you can write the intention on the top too. Leaving this jar will cause Andrew's testicles to burn like fire. Like, honestly. You can do it however you like, and this is just focused intention. It's no different than somebody sitting there and picturing this scenario in their head, because that's magic too. It's no different than somebody writing a novel about something they wish they could do, like a murder. That's something that people do. Look back to, oh, please let me remember his name. It's not Jack Kerouac, it's the guy who wrote Requiem for a Dream. He and never wrote a book before, but he just started writing because he had to get this shit out of his head. Okay, what I'm trying to say, and to kind of like bring it back, is say that writing things down and having 1 million people read them is just as powerful as doing a spell, or just as powerful as like maybe doing the act itself, because now if you publish it, you've got 1 billion people thinking about the scenario and think about all that magical energy. The guy who wrote, it was a book first, Requiem for a Dream, Last Exit to Brooklyn, he wrote some pretty morbid stuff. Now, he wrote something called The Game, he wrote something called, The Game's probably the worst. It's about a guy who fascinates his whole prison sentence about hurting the guards who make his life hell. And that's kind of what I was talking about when thinking about this story. Now, if you want to do hexing work, I recommend that you read some of this author's work. I really wish I could think of his name right now, but he wrote Last Exit to Brooklyn and Requiem for a Dream. But The Game, I believe, is the name of the book. All of his books are kind of like one words. But he put out a lot of stuff, and the more people you have reading it, the more energy is thinking about that scenario, and that's definitely magic. So now, and witchcraft. So now let's talk about chili pepper in the Eyes of Scott Cunningham. In the words, not the eyes. Chile. So, okay, chili pepper. Now, here's some that we've gotten in bulk at the store, and they're lovely. And here's some that we've done up ourselves and sun-dried. We've grown ourselves, and then we hung them from like a button and a clothespin and dried them in the sun. Okay? These are magnificent for magical workings. When you sun-dry something, especially yourself, with the intent for witchcraft, with the intent for making someone uncomfortable, as you string these, as you string through the top of these, say out loud what the intention is for. peppers are not used for many other things, but like, let's read about chili pepper, okay? Folk name red pepper, gender masculine, planet Mars, element fire, powers, fidelity, hex breaking, and love. Okay, so they're hex breaking, not causing. However, you could definitely add this to your hot foot powder because it's an ingredient in hot foot, isn't it? Any kind of chile or something hot is in hot foot. And I'm just saying, if you used a hotter pepper like a habanero or a ghost, the more effective and powerful that hot foot will be. So I wanted to say this: if you so powders of these here are fidelity, hex breaking, and love. If you feel your mate is looking for greener pastures, meaning a prettier wife or whatever, or a prettier husband, buy 2 large dried chili peppers, cross them, and tie them together with a red or pink ribbon. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to use a black ribbon because this is for banishing purposes, and this is for the outside of that jar to hang. It's another one of the things I want to hang on the outside of this jar, okay? This, again, is not for my husband. It's going to be working for a client. At first, it was just going to be a YouTube video of an idea I had, but then someone saw it and said, can you do this for me? And I was like, well, it's not for anybody, so I'll do it up for you. If you guys want workings done, it's pretty simple. It doesn't cost that much, and you get to have a video made of it, which is really cool, in my opinion. Okay, so again, that video of that working is going to be separate. Chili pepper, buy 2 large dried chili peppers, cross them and tie them together with a red or pink ribbon, and it says ribbon, not string. Place this beneath your pillow, and this should help keep fidelity in your marriage. So I've just decided to switch it up, change, do the same stuff, use a different color string because I want to do banishing, and then I'm going to be hanging this on the outside. Why did I decide to do this as banishing? Well, because it's hex breaking, okay? I don't want these to come out and be able to get through some sort of hex. No, no, no. We're outside of here. Well, actually, we might put it in the jar since it's hex breaking. If you stay in the jar, you're safe. If you're out of the jar, yeah, so that's what we'll do. Because they also promote love. So inside of the jar, this will be a good thing. If you've been cursed, scatter red pepper around your house to break the spell. Red pepper is also used in love powders to inflame the beloved or to ensure that the love you find will be spicy. So again, by keeping this in the inside, it will keep love, spiciness, heat in the relationship. And then coming on to the outside, you're going to have the uncomfort, the habanero, the heat, the panic, because it is panic. And especially when it's sun-dried, it has that energy from the frickin' ball of fire that is the sun, pulverizing that plant and sucking it dry, right? So when something is sun-dried, you have that thought too. You're sucking the life out of it. Water is life, and you're sucking water out of something by dehydrating it. It's almost like preserving it, like that Rose of Jericho. You can dry them out and wet them, and dry them out and wet them, and they'll just, it's like a flippin' time pause almost. It's like not a time machine, but it just pauses time for as long as you like, and then start it up whenever you like again. Kind of like how I sleep. It's like a little hibernation. Another pepper that I just dried because it came with, we had grilled one the other day, is this jalapeno. And as you can see, the seeds inside, any of you that cook know that the seeds are where the heat really and truly is. So if you just want to put seeds into something, remember that's the bulk of the heat. So you could really amp up a spell by just using seeds. Please, please, please use rubber gloves. Please, please, please wash your hands and then don't touch your eyes or your genitals afterwards because it will burn like a mother stinker. So this video, the habanero video, was for Alisa Kalma, K-A-L-M-A. Thank you so much for waiting patiently for this video, for the holidays to be done. I'm glad that we got it done. I'm looking forward to this put his testicles in a jar spell, and yeah, I know you guys are too. So we will be coming back with lots to say. Jen the Taxidermy Witch, talking about chiles and habaneros. See y'all.